It'll be one to go this time by. Coming to the green, buddy. Coming to the green. Let's go get him. Go, go, go. Dig, dig, dig. Go, 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 go.
Get your motor running. Head out on the highway.
How goes it?
Good.
When you look back at that win that you had here, what kind of resonates from that day?
Oh, I mean, anytime you can win somewhere, you're happy. But to win here is obviously a little bit different than a lot of places that we go to. So, this is kind of our mid-year target, I guess you could say, as far as which race you're shooting for. I mean, this is the one you shoot for in the middle of the year. So this is it's a big race for everybody, and a lot of attention and time and effort put towards everything that goes into it.
Do you remember when they first came here, kind of the first couple of years of the race? Do you remember paying much attention?
Can't say I do.
Hey Ken, I'm working on a sidebar piece about die-cast cars. Do you collect cars at all?
Yeah, I actually have every car that they've ever made, and we have a small display case in the office that we display all the cars in. So die-cast are a big part of our sport.
And do you collect just your cars or other guys?
I have a few cars of some other guys, but for the most part, they're all just the cars that we've run.
How much does the change to the car tomorrow affect the race here now that you're racing here?
That's a good question. I guess we'll find out when we race. I don't think anybody really has that answer until you actually get on the racetrack and see what the car's going to be like. But I think all those questions will be answered Sunday.
Is there anything from last year's race that you could use this year?
I know how to get on pit lane. That's about it. Most everything that we did in the past is probably, for sure is pretty much useless information. We know that the tires are going to wear out when practice starts here, and other than that, it's just the characteristics of the racetrack more than anything that we can use. Most everything on the cars is pretty much useful from what we've done in the past. All right.
Hi.
Hello.
What does a win at the Brickyard mean for you?
Well, anytime you can win a race, it's a good thing. But winning at Daytona and the Brickyard are a little bit different than most places that you go to. There's just a lot of history and a lot of heritage from the Indy 500 and past Brickyard 400. So, growing up wanting to race Indy cars, this is a place that I always wanted to race, and to be able to win here is something that's personally pretty special. And in the middle of the year, this is what the teams focus on, is putting your latest and greatest engines and cars and things like that on the racetrack as you come to Indy. So this is a big race.
Because of your position in the chase, being kind of on the bubble, so to speak, how do you play it safe while still going for it?
Last I checked, we were 9th, so I don't know if that would be the bubble, but I think you just go out and race as hard as you can, and wherever it falls is where it falls, and that's how it was meant to be.
What about Randy Moss getting into ownership?
I think it's going to be good for the Truck Series. I think anytime you can bring somebody outside of the realm of our sport and a sports figure of his stature is going to be good for the Truck Series and good for the sport in general to just kind of branch out to a different type of owner. So I think it seems like he wants to have fun and be a part of the race team and do what it takes to fit in. So I think as that deal progresses, I think it's going to be even better than it is right now.
As an owner, speaking of another owner, what would you tell him that he needs to know?
It's not. There's going to be a lot of times that it's not very much fun. As you go from a week-to-week basis, there's a lot of times when cars aren't competitive and things are not what they're cracked up to be. So you just got to take your time and take it as it comes.
Kevin, tomorrow, he is tomorrow leading into Sunday to get the spot for Sunday because of the limited opportunities to make things happen in the race. If you're way back.
I don't understand your
You
question.
get a good start position tomorrow.
Yeah, I think the starting position's, it makes it better, but I don't think that's the end of the world. I think, track position is definitely something that you want to pay attention to here, but I don't think it's going to be something that you can't win the race from the back. So there's a lot of things you can do to make up ground. We've started in the front, we've started in the back here, and most of the time we've been able to make that ground up. So definitely makes your day a lot easier if you can qualify good. So that's definitely what you want to focus on tomorrow.
Kevin, what kind of a challenge is it as an owner? Certainly the auto manufacturers, the economics, it's a tough time for everybody in the auto manufacturers, and even GM's talking about having to reassess some things. As a truck owner, what are things that you have to start looking at, wondering if things may not get as much?
Well, from our standpoint, we've been looking at our budget for a couple of years to try to work more efficiently and do things as efficiently as possible. And as a business owner, I don't think it's something that you really wouldn't not want to pay attention to. And I know a lot of people are going to get caught by this as it creeps up on them, and all of a sudden there's going to be a panic. But we've tried to get creative with the way that we market our teams and come up with different types of packages to attract sponsors, and our guys have done a good job at that. So right now everything's good on that front of it, but you're going to have to continuously reevaluate it as you go forward.
What kind of challenge is it with all the tools and toys that are out there for car owners to make cars faster? Obviously that's the whole key. Where's the balance in getting the latest, greatest computer-generated equipment, or hiring 10 people, or getting some other machinery?
Well, I think it's different in the truck series and the nationwide series. We've made a lot of investments in our company, a couple $1 million investment in our company this year at KHI. So it all depends on, I guess, the owner and how much he's really into it and understands about it. To me, that's the biggest thing, is understanding the equipment that you purchase to know how to maximize the gain from that piece of equipment to make it useful. So I guess a lot of it is just understanding what comes with it.
Can teams survive with minimal manufacturer support, or almost? I mean, some of these teams are so big now; they're almost kind of businesses unto their own. You have over 100 employees, don't you?
We have right at 70.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Could you survive with your operation with minimal?
We've survived with minimal support. We've run our truck team with no sponsors and run it bare bones, and luckily we have a happy medium as to the top end of it and the bottom end of it, and what it takes to run it and what you can and can't do to still be competitive.
I read 4 articles this week about how this is going to be a boring race and nobody should watch it, blah, blah, blah. Does that offend you guys in any way? Because it's not taking into account what you guys do, the show you put on, you go 200 miles an hour, and how that could be boring. But all this gloom and doom about the car and how it's going to be no side-by-side race.
That's why I don't read anything that you guys write or talk about. I try not to pay attention to to people who don't necessarily understand how our sport works. I think the races have been as good a races as we've had in a long time at Daytona and Chicago, and I think in the garage, I think everybody's getting a better handle on the car, and I don't think there's ever been any side-by-side racing here. So I think it comes from the opinions come from a lot of people who really don't understand the sport, and I think those who understand the sport, unfortunately, some of our amateur fans that haven't attended a lot of our races have to read that stuff and get kind of a false opinion of what they should expect when they come to this particular racetrack. This racetrack promotes single file racing. It's not necessarily the car. You can take an Indy car, you can take a stock car, and you're going to run single file here. You're not going to run side by side. So if you want to blame something on single file racing, I would blame it on the track and not the car.
That's the key for you. I've heard a number of guys say, for us, getting out of 2 and getting out of 4, and kind of
absolutely.
Momentum track in that respect. Is that
Yeah.
one of the keys for you?
Yeah, the biggest key is getting down that long straightaway and carrying as much speed as you can up off of 2 and 4. 4 to me is more of a challenge than 2. It seems like you run out of space a lot quicker off of 4 than you do off of 2. So you gotta get your car turning well and be able to stay wide open up off the corners to carry as much momentum as you can.